Good morning and welcome to Breakfast Show on Ombudsman Radio. My name is Joseph Thomas. Today is the 28th of May 2025. On a breakfast show this morning, first is a newspaper review. Of course, a lot of things are happening in Nigeria and beyond, and we're going to take you on what is happening today in Nigeria and outside Nigeria. We're starting with the Punch newspaper today. On the Punch newspaper, we have that the federal government's fresh $24 billion borrowing plan could push Nigeria's total debt to 183 trillion naira. This raises alarm over debt sustainability and its implication on economic stability. We also have that Saudi Arabia has officially declared June 6 as a day for El Kabir at the Salah, aligning with global Islamic observance expectations. The Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit (NFIU) is probing large funds transfer to Dubai and Hong Kong, suggesting possible money laundering or capital flight activities. And still on the Punch newspaper, the INEC has validated the appointment of a Wike-backed PDP secretary, putting the National Executive Committee under pressure and revealing ongoing party rift. Still on that, we have that the US has suspended student visa interview in response to ongoing protests, as institutions like Harvard, which are reacting to policy changes linked to Trump-era budget cuts. That's on the Punch newspaper this morning. And moving further to the Vanguard newspaper this morning, we have that tragedy struck in Lagos as the death toll from a building collapse has increased to 3, renewing focus on infrastructural safety. Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky has proposed a 3-day summit involving Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin, potentially to put the resolution in the Russia-Ukraine war. And still on the Vanguard newspaper, the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has launched new financial tools aimed at deepening the non-interest banking sector to widen financial inclusions. And we also have that the President Tinubu and the Director General of the National Council on Strategic Projects, NSSP, reviewed progress on Nigeria's collaboration with China, focusing on infrastructure and development and investment. And lastly, still on that, we have Nigeria's crude oil export revenue has fallen by 17% to $6.68 billion, attributed to global price fluctuations and production challenges. And lastly, on the Vanguard newspaper, the Nigerian Electricity Regulation Commission (NERC) has introduced a 2.17 kilowatt tariff charge to create a transmission infrastructure fund aimed at improving power delivery. That's on the Vanguard newspaper. And we move further to the Nation newspaper. On the Nation newspaper, we have the regulatory agency NAFDAC has denied accusation from Very Dark Man about alleged extortion of traders, calling the 700,000 naira claim baseless. The US visa suspension will have wide repercussions, including for Nigerian students who may face delays and cancellation of their academic travel plans. Kogi state lawmakers have approved the second reading of bills that seeks to reform tenancy law by 2025, potentially to balance tenant-landlord relationships. Ibas has criticized the elites, elders, and religious leaders for failing to mediate the ongoing political and social crises in Rivers State. That's what we have on the newspaper review this morning, and that's how far we can go on the newspaper review this morning. And we're going to move to the next segment of Breakfast Show this morning, which is the discussion program. Stay tuned with us. Okay, so switching to the next segment of our breakfast show this morning is the discussion program, and today's topic is on politics. Today we ask a bold and necessary question: can we trust the political class in Nigeria as we look forward to the 2027 election? We know it's been 2 years since Nigeria cast their vote in 2023. Promises were made, manifestos sold, and power changed hands or stayed put. Now, we are halfway to the next general election. So, how far have we come? And more importantly, what are they headed? Where are we headed? With us today on the show is a political analyst and a civil society advocate, Mr. Samuel Taninowo, who will join us on the show to discuss deeply on this topic. Good morning, sir.
Thank you. I'm glad for having me here.
It's a pleasure to have you here, sir.
Thank you.
So, since 2023, Nigerians have watched their hopes, skepticism, and sometimes outrage. Power shortages persist, inflation bites deeper, security concerns, eruptions, and youth unemployment still dominate headlines. But there have been reforms, some bold, others controversial. Have they made any impact? Are there signs of progress or just political theater? The big question remains: can we trust the current political class to lead Nigeria to the better future in 2027? Okay, so we will have Mr. Samuel to tell us more on this topic. Mr. Samuel, I have a question for you. 2 years ago, the 2023 election, what would you say is the scorecard for the current administration? It's almost 2 years now.
A few
In a
days.
couple of days, tomorrow, we're going to have the anniversary. So, what is the current scorecard for the current administration so far in 2 years of the administration?
Well, if you look at where we are coming from and where we are now, you can say that the administration has put up a lot of credible steps
Okay.
towards revamping the nation holistically.
Okay, so a lot of progress, you said, have been made. Okay, so has there been any shift in how Nigerians' political system with engaging with people has been and business as usual?
Well, from the political point of view, the trust and the confidence of Nigerians are being eroded. It's a statement of fact because of some key trends that are very, very painful in the economic, in the political, and in the social life of Nigerians. A lot of hard times are here, a lot of things have gone bad, a lot of water has passed through the bridge, and many people are losing confidence in the political class. There's no gainsaying the fact. It's obvious. It's there for everybody to see. But that does not mean that this administration has not put up some good record. If you look at the macro and microeconomic policies, if you look at the fiscal policies, fiscal and monetary policies, if you look at in the area of infrastructure, a lot of effort has been made. And if you look at human developmental aspects, considering the loan scheme, the students and business entrepreneurs, look at the students, for instance, close to 170,000 students have accessed this student loan scheme. The record is there, about 169, close to 170,000 students have accessed, even though it is meager considering the population of student population in Nigeria, yet it's something to reckon
Yes.
with. So the country is actually heading to somewhere. It, it is it is better to be late than never. That's the way I see it.
What are the physical signs, positive or negative, that indicate we are headed in 2027?
Well, for example, the voting population is still abysmally low, considering those that have registered over 90 million registrants, you know, right, over 90 million voters legally and legally qualified to vote. But it will surprise everybody that not even 50% of these voters are out to vote. So we still have a challenge in that area. And for us to continue to sustain democracy ongoingly, for us to legitimize power, we must come out to vote. And if we continue to vote, if we continue to experience voter apathy, we would not have a good smooth run of governance in this country. So I think from that area, the first thing to do is to encourage Nigerians to vote. And the second thing to do is to encourage the various agencies responsible for election to be responsible, to be technically, physically, mentally, socially responsible to ensure that votes of a Nigerian counts. If that happens, then we are on the threshold of success politically.
Mr. Taninoa, would you say that this current administration has done something visible that will give us a hope for the 2027 election? If yes, what are those visible things that they have done that we could say, okay, we can hold on to this and we can expect more in the 2027 election?
I love the step the government took in the area of local government autonomy. It's a commendable step. When the president noticed that he may not get the nod of the National Assembly, he will pass through technically and intelligently went through the Supreme Court to get it done. And I think that's a kudos on him. It's a big achievement to me because if development is taken to the grassroots, I bet you see insecurity will reduce, unemployment will reduce, and then urbanization, the pressure on our urban cities will reduce because you can imagine massive movement to urban area. Urban centers are overstretched, are overused. You see, they are also abused. If you check the facility in the urban center have been stretched to the limit because of overpopulation. People are migrating, leaving the rural area to the urban centers because they discover that the rural area is not well facilitated. The facility is at abysmally low level, and a lot of things are wrong in the rural areas. So the development that is very rural centric in nature is missing. So that developmental gap between the rural area
And
and the
the
urban area
urban.
is gradually becoming close. So if that is achieved, you will discover that a lot of people will find it easy to remain in the rural area than to come into the city because whatever you can find in the city, you
You
find in
can
the rural
find.
area. So there's no point coming to the city. So that will reduce the overpopulation of the city, the problem of misuse, abuse, or disuse of our facility in the cities will also be reduced.
Okay, in the aspect of law reforms, has there been any improvement in that aspect?
Sure, sure. A lot of commendation in that sector because if you look at what the Minister of Justice, Mr. Fagemi, is putting in place, a good work to stabilize the the law sector of this country. Because nobody's right can be guaranteed when there is no rule of law in place. And again, the judiciary too, even though I must say that Nigerians are losing hope in the judiciary, but then there is still some aspect that is worthy of commendation. Judging from what role, if you look at the role the Minister of Justice played in ensuring the autonomy of the local government, you will know that he mean business and he mean well for this country.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Taninoa.
Thank you.
What does trust in leadership look like in Nigeria today? Are the people, do they build that trust in
Mm,
leadership?
yeah, before trust is earned. You don't just wake up one day and tell someone, trust me, trust me.
Mm-hmm.
I can't trust you because you're telling me to trust you.
Yes.
You have to show it. You have to prove it. You have to work it out. So I want to appeal to the political class to put in deliberate efforts to become more intentional in making sure they win the public trust. See, the public trust is eroded. Nobody trusts anybody anymore because of the trajectory of political class. So I must really, really sound a note of warning to the political class to jettison this selfish political politicking and put on the garment of national interest. So when the national interest comes to the front burner, and everybody concerned is or herself with the national interest, and they jettison selfish interest or personal interest, you will discover that the public trust will come back, and that will help to a very large extent in nursing our democracy to an enviable height.
Okay, so more on the trust aspect of leadership, in the aspect of transparency, what has the government done to be more transparent, or has the government been more transparent in its cost for leadership?
Well, to some extent they are. One cannot but say the fact that the government has, to a very large extent, displayed some level of sincerity in the area of you know owning up whenever they you know bring out a policy that is not really as expected. They own up. Yes, we are sorry. For example, let me cite the example of the JAM registrar when he discovered that he blundered. If you remember during one of our programs, I said
Mhm.
it here that the JAM office need to look inward and put their house in order. He came out to own up, yes, we had some human error and he apologized. But I want to sound a note of warning. Sometimes you will discover that some people will just come up and say, yes, I am wrong, I apologize, and I take full responsibility. It's only in the words they take responsibility, not in action. Some of them will say, I take full responsibility, and that ends it. What responsibility are
What
you
years
taking?
are you taking?
What step are you taking to remedy the damage, to control the damage? Not just coming to the public and say, I take full responsibility, and that it ends there. It's wrong.
Taking full responsibility goes with actions,
I'm
not
telling
just
you,
words.
not just words. And we are conversant with that word. I am sorry. I take full responsibility. We don't want that being sounding so apologetical without responsibility.
We are the ones to see that responsibility has been taken. Yeah,
Yes,
what we see action taken,
yes,
talking about that jam aspects, the jam in particular, and how the whole result for this year was, it has really had a lot of psychological damage to the jam bites, a
yes.
lot of. So if responsibility, like you said, I'm sorry for this, I've taken responsibility. If responsibility were to be taken, I think those people are supposed to be compensated.
Yeah,
Yes, because a lot of psychological damage. There was even a point where a Jambite committed suicide.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's true. Record has it. That is from East or thereabout.
Yes.
And I remember there was a time I was in China. Then we had a delayed flight.
Okay.
Before Jack, they brought food. Then some people were compensated with money.
Okay.
Do you understand?
That is taking full
Responsibility. I've
responsibility.
never seen that in Nigeria. If you come late, the flight is on. They will go and leave you behind. But if they are late, they don't
Yes.
compensate the passengers. So I'm here to see actions in terms of taking full responsibility, going beyond words of expression in this country.
All right. So while we're still looking for more and more reforms and better governance and administration, or for this present administration, I'd like to ask this question: Is Nigeria's political culture changing at all, especially among the youth and emerging leaders?
I will say emphatic no, because the politicians and the political environment is not mutually inclusive enough. the kind of growth we're expecting. For crying out loud, our democracy is still nasty and nascent. Do you understand? Nasty in the sense that a lot of politicians are taking it too personal. Nascent in the sense that it has not grown enough, it has not matured enough to engender the kind of development we want to see. You know, so we need to grow up. Our politicians need to grow up. The political class need to grow up. Our leaders need to grow up, and the youth also need to grow up and take full responsibility to make our politics what it ought to be.
All right, so thank you very much, Mr. Taninowo. Now, what would you say? What would be your remark? The coming 2027 election.
It will interest you to note that the campaign has already started. Politicians are already working behind the scene. In fact, there are approval and counter approvals here and there. There are a lot of fireworks going on behind the scene. And if you look at the dimension the political terrain is taking, you can easily infer what will happen. Expect fireworks here and there. Expect a lot of hire and firing, you know. So I just pray and I hope that we will find it easy at the end of the day.
All right, so thank you so much, Mr. Samuel Taninowo, for your time and contribution on this topic. Like he said, trust in leadership isn't just about politics, it's about consistency, vision, and people centered governance. As we look in for the 2027 election, Nigerians must ask tough questions, stay informed, and participate actively. If democracy is about the people, then the people must remain alert and engaged. The next 2 years will be decisive. Nigeria's future is not just in the hands of politicians, it's in the hands of every Nigerian citizen. Let's hold power to account. Thank you so much for staying with us, and this is how far we can go for this program today. Um, don't forget to tune in to all our social media platforms on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at Ombudsman Radio, and an X account at Public Complaints Commission, Ombudsman Radio Nigeria. Of course, we keep you entertained, we keep you informed, and we keep you educated on topical issues in Nigeria and beyond. I am Joseph Thomas, your host, and for now, we say bye.